Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video.
Me, 27 male, with my wife 30 female, of 7 years, found evidence of her possibly cheating several years ago. I dug and I wasn't searching for anything, but her Facebook was still open, and I was interested. In June 2011, I had a short interaction with a person over the course of approximately a week. It begins innocently enough, and she even encourages him to contact her if he can keep it polite. I only know fragments of the chat since I presume the most of it took place through text messaging. But what I do know is that after approximately 5 days of conversing with a person she's never met in real life, she's telling him that she's soaking with the winky face. Then have her boyfriend do something about it, haha, he responds. She then explains that she was simply giving him what he wanted. This man she'd never met in person and had only spoken with over Facebook. We had gone through an extremely dark phase 2 years previously. Ms. had twins in mid-2009, which led her to have a terrible depression, and we had a lot of ups and downs for a long time. I assumed she was sad, upset with me, or that I wasn't paying enough attention to her at the moment. When I checked our Facebook messages at the same time, it was a pretty fun exchange. We shared a house, and still do, at the time, and I could tell she was out of town for the weekend visiting relatives. But our communication includes calling each other pet names, her telling me that she loves me, and a lot of back and forth lols. We seemed to be having a fantastic time. She messaged me and said, "You scream, I scream, we all scream for ice cream." I compared the 2 time periods, and she's having this chat with me, this wonderful, personal, and loving talk with me, while telling another man that she's soaking. It totally breaks my heart. It's 4:30 a.m., and I've been up all night going through all of this, and it's evident that she, not him, was pushing the filthy talk. I also discovered another communication from January 2012 with a man she had up with before we were together, in which she tells him that he makes her want to do wicked things since she used to enjoy him so much. Then she had to go to the shower in humiliation since she regrets saying it. I could see she was hesitant to say it because of the build-up, so I'm not sure why she did. We've had a great 3-year-old daughter, acquired a dog, and purchased a home in the 4 years since. I'm at a loss on what to do. On Friday, I have an appointment with a counselor with whom I will discuss this. I don't think I'll be able to wait till Friday. We'd be there right now if our kid wasn't in the picture. This stinks since we were only hours before curled up on the sofa beneath the covers, and I was holding her in my arms for 45 minutes. We just spoke and had a wonderful and private discussion. I don't even know who sent those texts to those other males. I don't have proof that she cheated since both of the other men were in relationships at the time and ended it quickly. But that makes me question how many other times someone else went along with it that I'm not aware of. I can't even think clearly. Yesterday began in a worst manner. I only got 3 hours of sleep, if that, and couldn't eat anything all day. As of Monday night's supper, I still hadn't eaten. I brought my kid to the paternity testing clinic yesterday when picking her up from school. Wife was at the doctor. I planned the dates, and she informed the second person she wanted to do wicked things with him 9 months and 3 days before my daughter was born. My kid is a carbon copy of me, so I'm not too concerned. I went to our other home when I got off work at 5 o'clock. I had to apologize to my supervisor for being down the whole day. We are in the midst of moving into a new home, and not all of our belongings have yet been removed from the previous one. Our mementos are still at the previous home. What she had given me from the time period of the chats. It hurt. A lot. I stuffed them in my trunk. I had planned to wait until Friday after speaking with my counselor, but I simply couldn't. She could sense something was wrong the moment I came in. I also grabbed a beer after work to try and make the night easier. I couldn't keep up the act. I didn't want to talk to her or even look at her, and she could tell. When she inquired what was bothering me so much, I just assured her we'd discuss after our kid went to bed. I spent the time between arriving home and her going to bed with odd errands simply to avoid having to look at her. Went to Walmart, came back, ran to Sonic, had a shower, etc. Once our daughter was sleeping, she jokingly remarked, "All right, let's get this griping over with," like it was going to be a high charge on the credit card or something. I informed her that the outcome of the night would be determined by her entire honesty to me and to God, and she agreed. I asked her how many persons she had slept with since we started dating, and she said, none. I asked her how many individuals she had emailed graphic images to since we started dating, and she said none. I inquired as to how many persons she had improper interactions with. She paused before responding, none. It was a dismal response. I then recounted her our whole silly, loving chat from that night, asking her if it meant anything to her and whether she remembered it. She didn't do it. I encouraged her to remember the date and time of our chat, June 7, 2011. Then I took out a photo of her chat with the other man from my phone and delivered it to her. Her face became white, her shoulders drooped, and she murmured, rather sheepishly, "I don't even remember this honestly." Then I showed her the second discussion she had with the other man about his making her want to do bad things. I told her I couldn't believe she didn't remember that one, since it had been going on for 6 months, it began benign for the first few months, so I didn't mind, but it was around 4 months and then it became inappropriate. I honestly don't recall what she said in response. My rage had grown exponentially by this point. I walked out to my trunk and retrieved all of our memories from that period. We looked through every message she wrote and every present she gave me. I read everything she wrote about how much she loved me, what a terrific boyfriend I was, how she couldn't wait to spend her life with me, and so on. Reading those messages hurt so deeply. I was shouting towards the conclusion of the notes. This one right here: "You told me you loved me and sent me this message 2 stinking days after you told another man you were dripping," I said. I don't remember what I said, and I don't remember what she said. It was all a whirl of tears and cursing. I recall wondering how many of the gifts she gave me were genuine, since I couldn't understand how she could say such nice things to me while doing the same to other people. She said they were all genuine and that she meant them, but I'm not sure. I won't be able to even look at them without being reminded of what occurred. I'm not going to get into details since I honestly don't remember them. As a consequence, she became outraged at the prospect of bringing up the past and expressed sorrow for what she had said. She continually told me that she was not the same person she had been before our child was born, and that she had changed since then. Because I have seen no evidence to the contrary, I have complete faith in her. Our daughter was instrumental in bringing her out of despair and transforming her into a cheerful person, and I really believe that these messages were the consequence of a tough era in our life. She did bring it up, explaining that she was merely looking for someone to talk to, someone to take her mind off things. The rest of this is simply a jumbled up paraphrase of what happened over a few hours, so take it with a grain of salt. I had hoped that having everything out in the open would make me feel better, but that hasn't been the case. Her yelling, tears, and whatever consolation she had didn't assist her any more than anything else. It's still hurting as badly as it was before, and I'm having trouble sleeping. Honestly, I don't think I've ever had a cut this deep in my life before. She indicated that she would go if that was what I want. I'm not sure what I want at this point. I want our happiness back, and I want her to apologize for sending those messages in the first place. Having a half-hearted desire to kick her out, the other half wants her to stay just so that I may see my child on a daily basis. I think I'll make an effort to resolve the situation with my counselor on Friday. I wish this hadn't happened, and I wish she'd said something to me instead of the other guys instead of them. I'm not sure where to go from here. The love is gone, the trust is gone, and the first 2 to 3 years of our relationship are now tainted because I'll never know what she said to other people that I wasn't privy to. I'm not sure where to go from here. The love is gone, the trust is gone, and the first 2 to 3 years of our relationship are now tainted. I don't even want to think about the first few years we had lived together in the same house. I guess I'll simply go with the flow of each day and see where it leads me from here. After our daughter was born, even the tiniest suggestion of indiscretion would have been enough to bring our relationship to a grinding halt. But, given how long ago that occurred and the lack of evidence that followed those communications, and believe me, I searched everywhere, I just don't know. I'm not interested in destroying my whole life. But I don't want to stay in this state for the rest of my life.